friends and family of Mark, good afternoon. I was one of the guys that Mark joined at Nextel many, many years ago. And I'm really happy to see many of the faces. We all work together. Mark found out that I was a Muslim many years ago. And we never had a confrontation, simply because he sought to understand what I observed, and I sought to understand what he observed. And in one of the verses read here today, that the soul of Mark will go back to a resting place in our interpretation. And it will come alive one day again to account for the good deeds and the bad deeds. We also believe that Jesus will rise again. We share this common belief with Mark. So from a religious perspective, we were very common, very friendly. The other part which his son talked about, David, talking about IT stuff, remember fondly some nice experiences with Mark. He was a network engineer in one of the teams that supported the things I did in data centers. I had to approve things called change control, which means that you do work mostly at nights. So in the daytime, things will break. You run around, get them fixed temporarily. And in the night, mostly at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. and 3 a.m., you get on a phone bridge and you fix the problem. We weren't only fixing problems. We're actually learning about each other, because that's when we found time on the bridges, and I saw some emails in Facebook and an email this morning and last night talking about the funness of those times at night, the 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. experiences. That's when Mark and I talked a little bit about his future wife. I think she was a teacher in China, correct? And he spoke very fondly of that, extremely fondly. It was a happy time in his life. I was a transferee from Florida, so I told him about my Florida experience. He was also very curious about my background. I was born in Guyana, South America. My forefathers are from India, so some Asian connections, but mostly from Guyana. He was very curious about things that he didn't quite experience himself. And through those conversations, we talked a lot. Another experience I remember, Mark, is about 2 or 3 months ago. We had Mark over to our building twice, once for lunch off-site and one on-site. And the most remarkable thing that I learned about Mark is that even though he knew the depth of the challenge ahead of him, he never once complained how much it affected him. And in one of the verses that David mentioned in his little speech, Mark was a strong, opinionated fellow. He was very convicted on the opinions he held, and he had enough informational background to stand behind it. So if there's anything we take from Mark, let's take the fact that Mark was willing to be convicted of certain things when he had enough information to be convicted of them. And he did not see differences in people. Because I stand here today in respect and honor of Mark and his service in the Marine. And I know for a fact that he liked different people. He liked all people. And he never really said anything negative about anybody in the years that I have known him. Even though sometimes I had to say, Mark, no, you can't do that. Let's do it at a different time when we will not have a problem. He understood the reasons for that. And he said, oh, okay, we'll do it at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or something. But those are the moments that come back to me in memory. And the team here from the Nextel, Sprint, EDS, I think we all remember little bits and pieces of all that Mark contributed to our lives. So today, we stand enriched by the experience we had with Mark, and we thank you for your time. Thanks, everybody.